we wanted to talk about, hey, what are maybe 5 best practices or tips and tricks that we can get into? So a couple we're going to run through. How do you just go check all your boxes? How do you, as a processor, as an underwriter, someone in the loan process, go see what Ocrolus is showing you in pertaining to income calculation, pertaining to what documents you have, what documents are being utilized, some things like that. A couple other things we're going to talk about today, how to execute a merge. And we actually have some really great how-to videos on all of these that are typically under 1 minute that I'll share in the chat here, and you guys will have distributed out after the fact. Another aspect, leaving comments, something that we can do in Ocrolus, whether we're going from processing to underwriting or whether there's something we wanted to add to the income worksheet as a comment, how to do so. We're going to talk about how to ultimately import income back to Encompass so that you don't have to go back and forth, stare and compare, those kinds of things. And we want to talk about how to find hidden thorns. So things that might be like buy now, pay laters, our firms, Klarna's, Afterpays, things like that, with some inspect insights and from Ocrolus's bank statement tagging. So with that, my friends, let's go take a look. And we have some folks of varying experience or skill here using Ocrolus. So again, Ocrolus is going to live right within your Encompass instance here. So we have a dummy loan here that I wanted to pull up and talk about, hey, how do I navigate to Ocrolus? And number one, go check my boxes. So in order to access Ocrolus via Encompass, through Partner Connect, you're going to go to services and you're going to go to order additional services here. So with that, Ocrolus will come up. Again, it usually takes about 30 to 45 minutes from the time that you save your loan once you've ingested documents, whether it's into a folder like Ocrolus processing required or through some other format that maybe your lender has automated. And once complete, you will be able, without needing a login, a password, anything like that, you're not going to have to go reset some password. You'll just go to additional services and select Ocrolus. Had something in the chat here. Grant asked a question, do you have to get out of the loan for Ocrolus to process? You do need to save the loan. So when you save the loan, that will give Ocrolus the green light, the go ahead to begin indexing your e-folder for you, and then to calculate income and do the other various things that we do. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, you just need to go save that loan, and that will give Ocrolus that green light. All right. Great question there, Grant. All right. And taking just a moment to load here, but again, no login, no password, nothing like that you guys are going to have to reset or anything of the sort. Will just be, again, from additional services. Now, once you load Ocrolus, the first page that you are dropped in on is the income summary screen. So I really want to pause here. And the first note that we wanted to do pertaining to best practices is checking our boxes. So let's low and slow go through what we're looking at and how we can do so. So it looks like we have 2 borrowers here, right? So we see we're in the summary right here. Let me grab my little tool. All right, where are we? We are in the summary page here. We are also in a Fannie Mae calculation. So I do want to point out that before the loan is locked, we will auto display Fannie Mae. Now, to check your boxes, if you do want to go check out a VA income calc instead, you can by going and clicking that box. But again, we will default to Fannie Mae. It might just take one quick second to load here, but you're able to toggle through the various 5 income calculations. Now we see a slightly different number. All right. So we can see that we can navigate to some individual pages, but this summary page lets us know what Ocrolus has seen. And again, if we don't have documents, if Ocrolus doesn't have, a W-2, then we don't know it exists. So we might see it as a discrepancy, something we can talk about in a bit with the hidden thorns. But if we don't have it yet, we can't calculate income on it, right? So we're just going to use these guidelines. In this case, we're looking at VA. Now, as we navigate down, what is the information we have? Okay, overall, were we expecting to see this number? Does $20,300 for monthly income between George and Martha, does that sound right based on the IRLA? Based on what they told us? Is that what we were expecting or no? So that's checking our boxes. If yes, awesome. seems like we might have what we need. There's some ways to go check and some other things we want to go check. But if not, then we can go see, all right, well, what might we be missing? Maybe we were expecting $24,000. Maybe we were expecting another $4,000 from self-employed that we didn't get, something like that. So again, checking my boxes. How can I quickly just go access information to find out if there's something missing or if it looks right? Checking our boxes as well, I would say, if you see this caution wet floor hazard sign, that's Ocrolus's way of saying, hey, in Martha's wage earner income, there's something we want you to review. So you'll see this little notification, right? This yellow hazard sign that cuidado peso mojado, caution wet floor. And you can click it. When you click on that value, that's going to take us over to Martha. And again, I want to go low and slow here. Where are we? When I click that, it took me to wage earner. We stayed in VA, which we had selected. We are in Martha as opposed to George. And oftentimes there will be multiple streams of income broken up. So these are all things that we want to go check our boxes. Are we in the right income calc? Are we in the right borrower? Are we in the right place overall? So as we do so, we can see, okay, we're in Martha as opposed to George. And we're in logistics group. We have an active employer versus an inactive employer. And now checking our boxes, we see this same caution sign here, right? It says there's 5 insights available. So let's go check those out. These might be things that we want you to know about why we calculated something or something that's missing or just anything we think that you should review and spend some time on. So here we said overtime income was calculated but not used because 2 years of data are missing. This little message right here, overtime income was calculated but not used because 2 years of data are missing. So there was a calculation, however, it was not automatically included. So that's a pretty big one that we wanted to alert on. As opposed to, as we scroll down, the verbiage there was calculated but not used for overtime. So on hourly, Ocrolus did use an income, so to speak. Now, you can change it. If you wanted to go take this monthly income based on these numbers, you certainly can toggle there and do so, like such. However, on overtime, we see that there was no selection made. None of these 5 calculations did Ocrolus automatically include. We wanted the user, in this case me, to go review it and see which one makes sense. All right, looks like we've got 7 months of overtime. We have 12 months from last year. Do we want to do the year-to-date plus 1 year average, for instance? Now, I do want to pause here. One of the easiest things Ocrolus does for you is shows you exactly where these numbers come from. So for the year 2024, we had $1,100 and $1,120.50 of earnings from overtime. So when I go hover over these numbers, whoops, let me just hover first. I accidentally clicked. When I go hover, I can see. Might be a little bit small for you, but there's a green highlight of overtime regular. So when I click, that document will pull up from the earnings statement here. I can see the pay period. I can scroll down and I can see that is where it pulled from. $1,120. That is what that overtime was. So whatever value we're pulling, if something seems off to you, you can simply go hover and check out. So let's say I did want to take the year-to-date plus 1 year average, for example. All right, checking our boxes. Ocrolus told me, hey, you want to go in and check out that overtime. And there's some other ones here. This file is a couple months old. So it's saying, hey, a more recent pay stub would be more accurate. Hourly income has changed significantly. You should review that. So just pointing you in the right direction, right? So I wanted to pause here, see if there are any questions. One more thing I'll add, checking our boxes. What's being used? If we go on this right side of the page here, we see a summary. All right, I have selected hourly and overtime. We see the employment period from 1/1/2023 to 8/8/2025. Again, this is an older dummy loan file here. But also I want to point out I can see sources. So what are the source documents that are fueling these calculations? Well, we've got a W-2 here from 2023. We've got some pay stubs from 2024. And we've got a W-2 from 2025 as well. So these are what is being included. I am able to change these or take these out if I want to. So overall, the idea here, come in, check your boxes. We spit onto that summary page when we loaded Ocrolus for a reason, because we want you to go say, all right, the happy product is hopefully, if you uploaded what you need and you knew you uploaded what you needed, then, whoops, I backed out by accident. We can go back and review. But again, to pull up Ocrolus, we can go order additional services and then select Ocrolus from that box down there. Looks like we had something in the chat here. Grant said, I have wondered if you can upload offer letters and it would still figure. Thinking of doctors who have been in school, but we are lending based on the offer. Offer letters. I have to get back to you on that one. Let me make that a takeaway from this one. I have not seen an offer letter yet. And I don't want to make a you-know-what out of you and me by assuming. So let me get a more defined answer. If I had to guess, I would say no, because there might not be a determined pay period, so to speak, but possibly. That would be a good suggestion, though. So let me check that one out, Grant. I will say this, though. Ocrolus is just a calculator, in a sense. We're much more than that, but if we want to oversimplify in one way, if I have that offer letter, I know what it is, and I want to go make some changes here. Let's say hypothetically, I'm like, okay, I want to change this amount here. I can change that to, let's say it was a $275,000 annual pay offer letter. I can go make that change if I want to here. And there are some other factors. So if you know that annual amount, you have that offer letter, you feel good to use it, you can just go make that manual edit yourself. We can see the salary is now $22,916 a month. Or if it's a different frequency, if we wanted to put monthly or semi-monthly, something like that, we could. Semi-monthly, it is $22,500. They have a $45,000 salary per month as a doctor. You can go make that change. You can go make that edit quickly in yourself. So I believe we can classify those within your e-folder. Let me get some clarity on if we'll use that for an income calculation. My guess is a little hairy there. So let me come back on that one for you, Grant. I'll follow up with you after this. But good question. Again, and I don't want you guys to feel afraid to play around in here, because at the end of the day, we have this lovely reset button. So you do always want to go save once you've made your calc. So I'm going to reset first. You can do two things. You can discard unsaved changes, or you can reset. Reset will take you back to the original income calculation. So I'm going to hit discard those changes. And what do? We switch Martha over to monthly. We said we're going to take this value. We liked it for one reason or another, hypothetically. We had some overtime we wanted to take. Awesome. Now, let's talk about finishing off the happy product here. Here's a couple things I can do. We wanted to talk about leaving comments. So let me delete this one, for example. So I said, okay, to use overtime income, whatever it might be, left a comment. Okay, so I made a decision. I did something in here. If I want to provide more clarity, I can. Now, if I download the income worksheet right here, if I download that, I can even choose, let's say I want to do the PDF and upload it myself. I do need to save, remind myself here. We hit a quick save. All right. Now, if I want to download that PDF, I can choose to include or exclude those comments. So if I wanted to put okay to use overtime income, I can add that. So if I'm a processor and I'm putting it to the underwriting team, they can see that note on the income worksheet if they want. So ability to add comments, download that income worksheet if we want. And then I would say the final step here would be the happy product is, hey, let's just import that back to Encompass instead of me trying to go back and forth and look at two monitors. I can just go map. And I can do it for both George and Martha if I want. I can go fill this all out, but I know that I just did Martha, for example. So, all right, we're going to make you go choose things so we're not mapping something incorrectly to the wrong place. Excellent. It was for logistics group. and we saw, hey, what was the income initially that Ocrolus had? And what is the new income? Remember, we took that hourly amount that was a big jump. So from there, if there's anything else I want to select, I can in these boxes, but I know that was the one change I made. And now I'm just going to click import. It's almost instant, just takes a couple quick seconds. All right, there's a request that was submitted. You can see here in the top right corner. And then income successfully imported. So if I am to go back out, I'm going to go close Partner Connect here. And I do want to display that that will go update if I go to my forms and I go to my 1003 part 2 here. And I can scroll down and I can see that 63.3360 pushed right over. So checking all my boxes, I was able to go notice there was something I wanted to change. I looked at the summary page, looked at Martha, decided I wanted to take a different value. I left a comment, and then I uploaded it back to my 1003. So I was able to just go navigate through, check out. Again, if we did want to make a change, a manual change, take a different calculation, whatever it might be, we would be able to do so and push it back. So there's a couple pieces of the happy product here. Now, I know these are 20-minute sessions. We're coming up at time here, but I did want to pop back in and look at another quick aspect here, another best practice. Let's say hypothetically that I have two just clean wage earners, like George and Martha just now. They were self-employed. They had rental properties. They had other income like retirement, annuities, pensions, things like that. But let's say I just have a really clean file that's just maybe one or two wage earners, and that's all they have. Well, how can we go uncover a thorn? What might slow us down later? One thing that's getting super popular, of course, is buy now, pay later. Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay. Ocrolus looks at 14 different and growing. That list is always growing. So I want to talk about this box over here. Let me move this out of the way really quickly. Let's go talk about this transactions box here that I just put a little orange box around. So if there are bank statements present, Ocrolus will take and tag every single transaction in those given bank statements. So this is a great place to go validate income, see recurring depositors, recurring payments, large deposits, NSFs, overdraft fees, things like that. So we can go validate, we can see the sources, these bank statements here. And what Ocrolus does is gives you the ability, and this also does work for non-QM for bank statement income, which is a different workflow that you can use through Encompass. Some of you on here might do that. But everything's being tagged. So if I look at debit Texas Electric, show me all the Texas Electric. I can go use the search bar here. And I can go see all of those transactions. That's one way of searching. I can look at date ranges and look at the tags themselves. So let's go search for some Afterpay, some buy now, pay later. So we can head over to tags here. I think we have 38 different tags. You can add tags if you like, but I'm going to go to buy now, pay later. BNPL is what we have in an Ocrolus. So a little tip, again, we said that the hypothetical is what if we just have two clean wage earners and we think this is going to be a really easy, fast file to close, but then we go see they have $5,000 of recurring debt to Afterpay, Affirm, Klarna, all those going on here, and we're going to need to go get something. We can know about that sooner. So I will point out this loan started in August 8th, I think was the application of 2025. So we see, hey, they just brought on $350. So in this case, it might not be something that is prohibitive, but it could be. We've seen countless examples where a team was able to go find, even 5 digits of buy now, pay later waiting that they didn't know about previously. So a great way to quickly go validate that if you're going to need a letter of explanation or something for it to go see. Looks like we had something in the chat here. Absolutely. Anonymous attendee said, how can we merge W-2s? So another quick one. One of the biggest functions that we see, hey, Ocrolus split something up. Maybe it split up a W-2 and split up an earnings statement, something like that. It split up
two pieces of the same coin because maybe they had a different name. For instance, Ocrolus, our payroll is done by JustWorks. So my W-2 says JustWorks on it, but my pay stubs say Ocrolus. So one thing we can do, we'll look at Martha here, for example. All right, so let's say that Abraham Lincoln Advisory Group, or Inc., pardon me, was one side of that with a W-2, and logistics group got split. Maybe it's W-2s, maybe it's two different documents, but we wanted to merge them together. So under Martha, what we have the option to do is select merge employers here. This enables me to go take these different broken out groups, logistics and Abraham Lincoln Advisory Inc., and then I can choose which employer name to keep. And then all of the source documents in each of those will merge together. So when I click merge, whatever documents I had for logistics, whatever I had for Abraham Lincoln Advisory Group, are now housed and able to be factored into the same calculation. And I will also drop a video. So I do want to point out, I know we're coming up a little over time here. Hopefully this was helpful, guys. Really appreciate the participation and questions today. But I did want to point out that we do have how-to videos that are super helpful for anyone, whether you're just getting started or whether you're someone who's been using Ocrolus quite a bit. And I'm going to put this in the chat for you. I would highly recommend bookmarking. I'm going to share my screen now, but go ahead and click on the chat of this meeting. And I would recommend copying, pasting that link in and putting a little favorite or a bookmark. So we do have an Ocrolus mortgage course that you can walk through. We have how-to videos, how to simply access Ocrolus from the dashboard, all the way through how do we merge employers, borrowers, and rental properties. And I would love to point out that these videos, this one is 24 seconds long here, my friends. So there is not some great long speech. We're in long form format here with 20 minutes, but there's not some big intro. It is just going to be a member of our team walking you through, hey, how do you go do something quickly that will enable you to move quick, confidently, and precise. So I think we have about 30 videos in here. These are all the most common edits that we see folks make or things we see folks do in here. And I would highly, highly, highly recommend keeping this handy as you're getting comfortable with Ocrolus. It will provide you with a lot of insight into what's possible and how to do it quickly. All right, my friends. Well, I know we've come up at time here, but wanted to make sure we had some time today just to talk about how to be confident, how to have a happy experience in here, and some best practices as you're navigating, taking you to that summary page, looking through to see if it looks right, if we need to make a change or want to make a change to the income we take, how to do so, some quick hidden thorns with buy now, pay later, things like that. Hopefully this session was helpful. I know we covered some strong fundamental basics here, but hopefully it gives you a good bit of confidence. We have these every 2 weeks. So it'll be the first and third Monday of every month. And please, would love to see you join the next one. We'll have some more information on Classify and wanted to make sure that we had a nice session here to talk through a couple quick hitters to give you some more confidence. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day, a great week, and a happy May. Take care now.